The lymphatic drainage of the esophagus, this cervical part is drained by the inferior deep cervical lymph node, or we can say the deep cervical lymph node. Now the thoracic part is drained by the posterior mediastinal group of lymph node, and the abdominal part is drained by the left gastric lymph node and the celiac node. The nerve supply, it is supplied by autonomic nerve, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic. The sympathetic from the thoracic 5 to thoracic 9 segment of the spinal cord, and from the esophageal plexus, and the parasympathetic from the both vagus nerve and recurrent laryngeal nerve. If we can see here, here is the recurrent laryngeal nerve, and these two are the vagus nerve. So we can say parasympathetic supply from the vagus nerve and the recurrent laryngeal nerve. The sympathetic provides sensory and the vasomotor supply to the esophagus, that it acts on the blood vessel, and the parasympathetic are the sensory, motor and secretomotor supply to the esophagus. Now the microscopic structure of the esophagus from within outwards, that is from the lumen to the outwards. Here there is mucosa, and then submucosa, and then muscle layer, and the outermost is the fibrous layer, which is known as adventitia. Within the mucosa, it is again divided into three parts. From the lumen, that is within outwards, at first lining epithelium, which is non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. It is non-keratinized because it is moist, and stratified because it is friction occur here by the food particle. Okay, then this portion, this is lamina propria, which contain gland, and then the muscularis mucosa, which contain longitudinal layer of the smooth muscle. Here is another picture, which is the longitudinal section through the esophagus, stomach, and then the duodenum. Here the esophagus, this portion, this is the mucosa, and we can see here the stratified squamous epithelium. There is multiple layer, and then this portion, this is lamina propria, and this thin portion, which is the muscularis mucosa. And after that, here is submucosa, and submucosa contain areolar tissue, plexus of the blood vessels, nerves, and lymphatics, sometimes glands also. Okay, and after the mucosa, there is a layer of the muscle layer, which is known as the muscular coat. We know throughout the digestive tract, the muscular coat is divided into two parts, that is outer longitudinal muscle and inner circular muscle. If we see the picture here, the outer muscles are the longitudinal, and we cut here, we can see the inner is circular. We can see the another picture also here. Here the outer is the longitudinal muscle of the esophagus, and the inner these muscle are the circular. And after that, there is the serous layer. In case of the esophagus, so we can say it fibrous layer or adventitia, which also contain the areolar tissue and more amount of the elastic fiber as well. Here is a picture of histology of the small gut, but to show you the nerve plexus in between the muscle layer, that is the outer longitudinal and inner circular muscle, there is a presence of a nerve plexus, which is known as Myenteric plexus or Orbeck plexus. And in the submucous cord, there is also presence of another nerve plexus, which is known as the Meissner's plexus or submucous plexus. Too easy to remember, we'll remind that in the submucous there is S, and in the Meissner's there is S. So we can say in the submucous cord there is a presence of Meissner's plexus, and in the muscle cord, in between two layer, longitudinal and circular, there is a presence of nerve plexus, which is known as the Orbeck plexus and Myenteric plexus.